The envelope arrived every semester like clockwork, $32,000 wired directly to Westbridge Academy's bursar's office from an account my sister, Jennifer, never bothered to question. For 3 years, I watched my nephew, Daniel, attend one of the state's most prestigious preparatory schools, knowing that without my quarterly payments, he'd be back at the overcrowded public school, where class sizes hit 40 students and college counselors handled 800 kids each. I never asked for gratitude. Jennifer assumed our late mother had set up some trust fund, and I never corrected her. It was easier that way, less complicated than explaining why her younger sister, the one she'd always dismissed as directionless, had built a consulting business successful enough to casually spend nearly $100,000 on someone else's child. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed with the usual reminders. Daniel's spring semester payment was due in 6 weeks. I stared at the notification, my finger hovering over the payment confirmation, when Jennifer's text arrived. Bringing David to Thanksgiving this year. Finally, someone successful in the family. Can't wait for you to meet him. David was her new boyfriend, apparently a pharmaceutical sales director. I'd been hearing about his accomplishments for 2 months. His country club membership, his luxury set-in, his investment properties. Jennifer had found herself a winner, she kept saying, after so many years of struggling as a single mother. I closed the payment reminder without confirming. Something made me hesitate, though I couldn't articulate why. Thanksgiving arrived with the usual chaos. My father's house filled with extended family, the kitchen overwhelmed with dishes nobody had coordinated. Jennifer swept in with David, who immediately dominated conversations with stories about his sales numbers and golf handicap. Daniel trailed behind them, 15 years old and lanky, glued to his phone. Aunt Maya. He looked up long enough to give me a brief hug before disappearing into the basement where the younger cousins congregated. Maya, come meet David properly. Jennifer's hand rested possessively on her boyfriend's arm. David, this is my younger sister. She does some bookkeeping work, consulting, small business stuff. Bookkeeping? I'd never described my work that way, but I let it pass. Nice to meet you. David's handshake was firm, performative. Jennifer tells me you help out with small companies. That's good, steady work. It pays the bills. I excused myself to help in the kitchen, where my Aunt Susan was wrestling with a turkey that refused to cooperate. The afternoon unfolded predictably. Football on television, children shrieking, adults drinking slightly too much wine. I found myself in the dining room, setting out dessert plates, when voices drifted from the kitchen. The door was cracked open, and I recognized Jennifer's laugh. I'm just saying, she's been single forever. Maybe if she focused on finding a real career instead of that little consulting thing, she wouldn't be so alone. Mom, she's such a loser, always trying to buy our love. Daniel's voice, dripping with teenage contempt. Did you see that expensive watch she got me last Christmas? Like that makes up for having zero personality. Daniel, that's harsh. But Jennifer was laughing. Though you're not entirely wrong, she tries so hard. It's kind of sad, actually. David's voice joined in. Some people peak in high school. Others just coast through life without real ambition. At least she's not asking you for money, right? God, no. She knows better than that. Jennifer lowered her voice, but I could still hear every word. Between you and me, I think she's jealous. Finally seeing what real success looks like with you around. Must be tough being the family disappointment. I stood there, dessert plates forgotten in my hands, as my 15-year-old nephew and my sister dissected my life. The watch Daniel mentioned had cost $1,800. I'd spent 3 hours selecting it, knowing he'd been wanting that specific model. My phone was in my pocket. I pulled it out, fingers moving with surprising steadiness, and opened my banking app. The Westbridge Academy payment portal loaded quickly. I'd been using it so long it stayed logged in. I canceled the scheduled spring semester payment. Then I drafted an email to the bursar's office, my thumbs moving across the screen while my sister's laughter continued in the kitchen. Please cancel the automatic payment arrangement for Daniel Morrison, student ID 2,847,392. Effective immediately, I will no longer be funding his tuition. The fall semester has been paid in full, but no future payments will be processed from my accounts. Please direct all billing inquiries to his mother, Jennifer Morrison. I hit send before I could reconsider. Then I walked back into the kitchen, smiling pleasantly. Who wants pumpkin pie? Jennifer looked up, startled by my sudden appearance. For a moment, something like guilt flickered across her face. but David was already accepting a slice, and the conversation moved on. I stayed another 2 hours, played with my younger cousins, helped wash dishes. Daniel avoided eye contact with me, but that was typical teenage behavior. Nobody suspected I'd heard anything. Nobody suspected what I'd just done. The semester break passed quietly. I worked through the holidays, spent New Year's alone by choice, and didn't think much about Westbridge Academy until mid-January. That's when my phone rang with Jennifer's number. Maya? Hey, weird question. Did Mom maybe set up Daniel's school payments through your bank or something? We got this bizarre letter from Westbridge saying his spring enrollment is canceled due to non-payment. I was in a coffee shop, laptop open, reviewing client contracts. What do you mean? They're saying nobody paid spring tuition, but that's impossible. Mom's trust has been handling it automatically. There must be some clerical error. Mom's trust. I took a sip of coffee. Jennifer, Mom didn't leave a trust fund. She left that tiny retirement account we split 3 ways, remember? Barely $15,000 each. Silence on the other end. What are you talking about? Then who's been paying Westbridge? That place costs $32,000 per semester. I have no idea. Maybe you should call their bursar's office. Maya, this isn't funny. Daniel's spring classes start in 2 weeks. If he's not enrolled, he loses his spot. Do you understand how competitive Westbridge is? Sounds stressful. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Wait, can you? Do you think you could help? Maybe loan us the tuition just for this semester? We can pay you back once I sort out whatever account mix-up this is. $32,000. Loaned to someone who'd called me a loser 5 weeks earlier, someone who'd laughed while her boyfriend called me unambitious and her son mocked my gifts. Jennifer, I don't have $32,000 to loan. I do bookkeeping, remember? Small business stuff. That's not real career money. Maya, please, I'm desperate here. Have you talked to David? Pharmaceutical sales director, investment properties, country club member. He sounds like he has real success money. Another pause. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that you've got resources I don't have. I'm sure someone in your circle can help. I hung up before she could respond. The text started an hour later. First Jennifer, then my father, then even my Aunt Susan. Daniel's educational future was at stake. Surely I could help somehow. Family was supposed to support each other. I responded to none of them. 3 days later, my father called. Maya, I need you to explain something. Jennifer's at Westbridge Academy right now, and apparently they have records showing you've been paying Daniel's tuition for 3 years, out of your personal accounts. Is this true? Yes. $32,000 every semester, for 3 years. Yes. Why would you do that and not tell anyone? Because Daniel deserved better educational opportunities than Jennifer could afford. I had the money. It seemed straightforward. And now you've stopped paying. Correct. My father was quiet for a long moment. This is about Thanksgiving, isn't it? Jennifer mentioned you might have overheard something. Daniel called me a loser who tries to buy love. Jennifer agreed and added that I'm the family disappointment with no real ambition. Her boyfriend David chimed in about how some people peak in high school. So yes, Dad, this is about Thanksgiving. Maya. I'm not angry. I'm just done subsidizing people who have such contempt for me. Daniel can finish the fall semester since it's already paid. After that, they're on their own. You can't just pull funding like this. Daniel's already enrolled. He's made friends, joined the robotics team. This will devastate him. Then Jennifer should have thought about that before raising a child who mocks the aunt paying his tuition. I hung up and turned off my phone. The next week was a blur of ignored calls and deleted voicemails. I knew what was happening without needing updates. Jennifer was panicking, trying to secure financial aid that required months of advance applications. David had apparently promised to help, but his investment properties turned out to be a timeshare and half ownership in a rental condo. Not exactly $32,000 per semester wealth. My father tried showing up at my apartment, but I pretended not to be home. My Aunt Susan sent a long email about family forgiveness that I archived without reading. Finally, 2 weeks after the spring semester should have started, Jennifer appeared at my office. She looked exhausted, hair pulled back messily, no makeup, the kind of worn-down appearance that comes from too many sleepless nights. He can't go back to public school mid-year, she said without preamble. All his friends are at Westbridge. His college applications are built around the robotics program there. This will destroy his transcript. You should have considered that before Thanksgiving. Maya, I'm sorry. We were drunk and stupid and cruel. Daniel's a teenager who says idiotic things. Please don't punish him for my mistakes. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm simply declining to fund someone's education when his family thinks I'm a loser trying to buy love. Seems reasonable. What do you want? An apology? Fine, I apologize. Daniel apologizes. We were wrong. Jennifer, I don't want an apology. I want you to understand that I spent $96,000 over 3 years so your son could have opportunities you couldn't provide. And you responded by mocking me in your kitchen, not to my face, which would have taken courage, but behind my back while I set out dessert plates. She was crying now. I know, and I'm so sorry. Please, Maya, I'll do anything. Just one more semester. Give me time to figure out financial aid or find a loan or something. You had 3 years to figure out who was paying. You never asked. You just assumed some magical trust fund covered everything, and you never questioned it because it was convenient. What do you want from me? I looked at her. This older sister who'd spent our entire childhood being the pretty one, the popular one, the successful one. The one who got married first, had a child first, and seemed to have life figured out while I was still finding my way. I want you to tell Daniel the truth, that his loser aunt paid for 3 years of elite education, that the woman he mocked for trying to buy his love spent nearly $100,000 giving him opportunities he got without effort. I want him to know that while he was ridiculing my gifts, I was funding his entire academic career. He knows. I told him yesterday. He's devastated. Good. Devastation builds character. Maya, please. The answer is no, Jennifer. Find another solution. Maybe David can help, since he's so successful. Or maybe Daniel can transfer to public school and learn some humility. Either way, I'm done being the family's silent benefactor. She left without another word. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. Aunt Maya, it's Daniel. Mom gave me your number. I know you hate me now, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You were always nice to me, and I was a jerk. I understand if you never want to talk to me again. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. I don't hate you, but I need you to understand that actions have consequences. Words have consequences. You're 15, not 5. Old enough to know that mocking someone's generosity is cruel. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I know. I'm really sorry. I have to leave Westbridge. Mom can't afford it, and we don't qualify for financial aid because she makes too much. I start public school Monday. Part of me wanted to cave, to wire the money and fix everything. But the rest of me remembered standing in that dining room, holding dessert plates, listening to my nephew call me a loser while my sister laughed. Public school isn't a punishment, Daniel. Millions of kids get excellent educations there. You'll survive. I know. I just wish I could take back Thanksgiving. We all do, but we can't. So we live with our choices. I put the phone down and poured myself a glass of wine. 2 months later, I ran into my father at the grocery store. We've been avoiding each other, our relationship strained by my refusal to rescue Daniel's enrollment. He's adjusting, Dad said without prompting. The public school has a decent robotics club. He's making it work. Good. Jennifer and David broke up. Turns out he wasn't as successful as he claimed. Some of those stories were exaggerated. Shocking. Maya, you proved your point. Everyone understands what you sacrificed now. Maybe it's time to let this go. Dad, I didn't do this to prove a point. I did this because I'm tired of being the family's secret solution to problems. I'm tired of being dismissed as unambitious while simultaneously funding other people's dreams. I'm tired of being called a loser by people whose lives I'm quietly supporting. So what now? You just cut everyone off? No, now I spend my money on myself. Maybe I'll travel. Maybe I'll buy that convertible I've always wanted. Maybe I'll donate to scholarship funds for kids whose families actually appreciate education. But I'm done being the invisible safety net. He nodded slowly. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Took me too long to say it, but your business, your success, everything you've built, it's impressive. I'm sorry I never acknowledged that before. Thanks, Dad. Jennifer wants to rebuild with you. Eventually. When you're ready. Eventually, I agreed. But not today. I paid for my groceries and walked out into the spring sunshine, my phone silent in my pocket, my bank account still comfortably full. For the first time in 3 years, nobody else's tuition payment loomed in my calendar. And I discovered something surprising. It felt absolutely liberating.